Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings, guys. Short day today, half day, but we made most out of it. We started the day with a loser, but we kind of came back so strong, such strong way that most of the community was green today, right? We only had 12% red, better than yesterday. So really solid day today. So a lot to recap, even though it was a small day, but we have some lot of things to recap. Before I start, just a quick introduction. So anybody who's new to my community, new to my YouTube, or new follower on X, all these trade recaps and all these teachings are from any trade ideas that I share on Twitter. Like today, I share Tesla and NVDA setups, or anything um, we trade in the community, or any traders in my community on the trading floor they are trading, or any trade ideas that I share with you in the previous YouTube videos, like we talk about the cloud rotation setups recently. So it's all from there. And I don't really take all the trades. Whatever trades I take, I share those as well. But even if any trades that my community traders are doing, I'm guiding them through those trades. We discuss that as well. So I discuss those trades as well. We do not trade random. We trade consistent setups, repeatable setups that we can repeat again and again. And we have a repeatable system. System is how you trade, setup is what you trade. So we have a repeatable system that thousands of traders across the world use to trade consistently, successfully. Every morning, me and my team, we create a game plan which we give to everyone 20 to 30 minutes before the market open. This was the game plan for today with all the main news movers. You can see here Apple, Meta, Amazon, a lot of those setups. Then news on Lily. There was news on STZ, which was a nice fader today. There was gold, GDX. So that was today. So there was this is usually our game plan every day. And then additionally, we provide the levels to the community to trade off using the system, support and resistance pivots. You can pause the screen and see how they work out. In addition to that, I also share my day-to-day three setups. This is the strategy that I invented, and I did a free webinar on this as well. So we share everything so that everybody is ready to trade, day trade, swing trade, whatever, when the day starts. I'm usually on voice. Today I was on voice most of the day because it was half day, guiding the traders through various trades we are taking, how the market is looking, long and short. So so I'm on the voice guiding the community, and we have a trading floor where hundreds of traders share the trade ideas, what's moving, what's long, what's short, so we will discuss all that. Anyway, so that was the introduction, guys. Now let's start with the first play. Before I start, we have our July 4 promo going on. If you guys want to sign up, join community, the best community, educational community, trading ideas, please join. Do not come for the alerts, but if you really want to be part of successful, consistent community, this is a good opportunity. All right, let's start. I'm going to start with Tesla. Excuse me. So the Tesla, every day in my recap video, I'm just discussing Tesla again and again and again. We talk about Tesla every day. Yet again, Tesla was a winner for us. This was probably third day in the row. Then we started breaking out. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, right? 3 days in the row. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this weekly breakout. I have talked about that enough in the previous recaps. So you can go back, watch yesterday's video, how we nailed this swing setup or this breakout on the weekly from 200 or this 198, and how we were swinging overnight our runners as well. So runners are, I do want to point out that yesterday I told everybody to swing it, right? Yesterday I told everybody to, swing Tesla. Guess what? We gapped up 10 points. All the calls and everything opened up high. You see that? This is where I told yesterday, everybody swing rest. Now we gap up. This is exactly what I said. Now we gap up. That was yesterday. You can watch yesterday's recap video and then you will see why I said that. Because we close at highs. When such big crazy breakouts happen, we usually gap up, and it touched 240. right? And then it dipped, regained the clouds again, right? It regained these clouds again. So the biggest thing this morning, the levels were pretty clean. The levels were so clean. So you see that how I draw my rectangle to give me the levels on Tesla. So let's see what was my game plan. Do you have a game plan today? Let's see. So Tesla, let's see my guidance. What was my guidance on Tesla? So we had these levels, right? 236, 240, 17. So those were two resistance levels. And let's look here. Let's see if I can show you my timestamped guidance. Of course, I was on voice. So let's see. So Tesla swing overnight hitting 240s. Hold on to overnight for now. I told everybody to hold on, and then we trade the 240 breakout, right? Reason being because we are holding this 3450 EMA Cloud. You see that? So we are holding this 3450 EMA Cloud. So that gives us the confidence that we're gonna push. We are bullish, right? Just like yesterday, there was a 218 buyer. This morning, it was holding this 3450 cloud, and 236 resistance. Also, we talked about it, and then it was all about. I was on the voice. It was all about trading the breakout. Now 240 breakout watch, and then we break the 240, and they say stops go at 238 or 236. 240 calls. As well, we have those, right? You can see there when the breakout started, I started talking about the stops. So we were long. I was long in 240 calls. My first target was 243. Then I sold my 243s. Then I bought 245s. I told everybody I bought some 245s with the profit on Tesla. Sold 240s for 50%. Then my next target was 245. We hit the 245 target, right? So I was guiding through the option trade today as well. What options I'm buying? I'm buying 243s, 240s. I bought not 243s. I bought 240s. Then I bought 245s. Then 245 was my target. We hit our 245 target, right? Then our final target was 250. So we were short of our final target like $2. And and then I told everybody, now the key is it will pull back to 240. So that's our retest buy, 240. Now 240 held, and you see that there was another bounce trade from 240 back to 250, right? So you see Win was also coming back, talking about the 240 levels, right? The potential of the 240, because this was a retest. This was the breakout. This was the retest. Breakout, retest. Simple concept, because the previous resistance becomes a support. This is one of the most important concept that you need to know, right? So this is where you buy. Wherever you're buying, it's this over here. It's a problem because your risk is this area is your risk right here. This right here. You see that, right? So clean level. The thing was, this level was so clean. If I just pull it down, I mean, you can clearly see this level. So that's where it bounces. So resistance becomes support, and then we continue push higher. Now we can still gap up on Friday. If we break 240, we probably gap up. Then now maybe on Friday it's a pullback day, right? And it's not like that maybe it chops. It doesn't really have to pull back all the way back, but it's a huge move. It's a huge move, definitely huge move. So what we will watch now, you watch this 1 hour trend. When this 1 hour candle break under 512, then it's going to push to 3450. So if you're a swing, you can watch the 3450 candle on 1 hour to cut it. But if it breaks this 10-minute clouds, then we'll probably short scalp it. And so we'll see how it goes, right? Let's say it goes higher, it pushes into 256s. Over 250 is definitely going to push. It's going to push. But the thing is, if we gap up too much, then probably we will have profit taking at the open, right? So it's not going to keep going straight. There's always a mean reversion. Remember what I talk about. When something is extended too much from the EMAs, there is always a pullback. Look at the extension. It's too much extension right now. So and the resistance wise, we have 264 resistance. So there's two levels, 250, then 250 258, 258.60. So those will be the, if let's say we gap up, or let's say it still has more room, it's very unlikely that we get over that in this move on Friday. So but anyways, we will trade, we will use our levels as always, but we will be ready for the pullback as well. And as a swing trader, if I draw let's say if I draw my fib retracement right here, from the highs to the lows, to see the 238 is my fib level. So it is very important to hold this for your swings, this area, because otherwise it's going to probably come back to the 50 retracement, which is 220. So I would say if you're a swing trader, you should take profits. Doesn't matter it runs to 270, but you should take profits 250, 255 in this range, and then you wait for the pullback. So yeah, so that's the plan for Friday, guys. Very successful weekly breakout trade. I can show my tweet once again if you want to see that. So this was my original idea, right? I mean, I keep going back, but I know some of you might be watching first time my Tesla video. So you can see that we were, when I started talking about at this 180 level, this weekly chart and the weekly hammer candle, right? We hold and we can see the reversal in coming days. And then you see it's going right over here. Downtrend line, 50 EMA Cloud breakout, 200 psychological breakout. I gave the analysis of the breakout clearly. Then we started to break out, and then all powerful 50-50 EMA, 208, 209, 2010, 231, and here we are today, right? So here we are. So that was the original idea. Before and after, we have really did good over this past week on Tesla, and just by repeatable setup, just by our system, not doing like vague predictions, just by following the system, the trend analysis, you can see that how the 10-minute chart has been doing on Tesla. And most of the move has been coming in the first few hours of the day, you see that, and then it's been going sideways. So let's see what happens to if the move on Friday. Let's, just like I discussed, maybe if it's a huge gap up, there's going to be profit taking. Otherwise, we'll watch all those levels. 250 is important on Friday. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, let's talk about NVIDIA now. So NVIDIA was again talking about NVIDIA. Let's say NVIDIA. Before I go to NVIDIA, just came to my mind, this was the morning setup I tweeted for everyone on Twitter, right? 950, that 240 is the pivot. We are holding our swings as long as cloud holds, and you see this range, and then it broke out, right? That was fun. So you can see the before and after. So anyways, just let's talk about NVIDIA now. All right, so yeah, so let's talk about NVIDIA. So what was happening on NVIDIA? So you see how NVIDIA, so it's a pure technical. We don't even want to see what Pelosi was doing or whoever. We don't really care. We just want to see what our system was telling us, how our system gave us a big trade. So you see this, it's a 1 hour chart. Tight, 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 tight. Tight, 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 tight. So it's called contraction, the price contraction. The contraction brings expansion. So this chart pattern is the most powerful chart pattern, right? You can even, if I draw a trend line right here, it's probably a falling wedge, or you can create a channel. But the point here is the contraction, right? So the contraction of the price, the bigger candles, then smaller candles, smaller candles, smaller candles, smaller candles. Eventually candles become very small, right? So very small candles. This is a contraction, and you see this is daily 2021 EMA. Even if you don't use it, you can still know that there's a support here. So buyer is always coming back in this zone, and the seller is kind of trying to suppress it. But when you suppress something too much, that's when you get the expansion. That's what you get the expansion, and that's when you get the explosive moves. That's what I was talking about the whole day in the community today, about how the expansion, this contraction will bring expansion, right? So let's see if I can show you guys where I was showing everyone there on NVIDIA. Let's see if I can go back. So you see that I was long on NVIDIA already, right at the open, just because of this, right? Because of this particular pattern, 1 hour chart pattern. I did stop out once, even though I could have held it, but we did get back. I stopped out because it was not doing much for me. I mean, I stopped out, green, I was green, but let's talk about it. So we see this 1 hour, okay, and the action's getting tighter and tighter. This is a contraction. As long as it holds the daily clouds 120 EMAs and the 20 EMAs, that's what I meant. It has chance today, Friday, the chance to break out, the contraction to break out. So we don't even need Pelosi to tell us what's going on, right? We see the chart, what's the chart doing, right? So that's what we are looking at. So let's see. So what was happening here? So you see that we broke out. Okay, you see this is the breakout, and when this candle happened, I closed mine. I'll go into the 10-minute chart, explain you. But when the breakout was happened, I got back in. But we were long anyways. Then it was all about following our target. You can see there I bought 100 contracts at 133, sold them almost 100%. They really did really good on these NVIDIA contract and trades today. So you can see that how powerful this setup was, one of the most powerful pattern. You see how I'm drawing the falling wedge here and the tightening triangle. So that's the bullish, and you see how it's 1 hour is getting over 50 EMA clouds, 1 hour is holding the 2021 EMAs. There's a support there, there's a buyer there. This is where you make big money. These are the setups you make big money. So you need to master these particular setups in your trading. And now let's look at 10-minute chart. So what was happening on 10-minute chart? If I expand it further for you, so we were trying to break out. Few times it was failing. When this broke, I had a 123 calls, at 110s or 115s, and then it failed to break out. I was profitable. I mean, I sold it for, I was 143. It pulled back to 1. When it started to break down here, I got out. I was just tired of that move. But then it reclaimed, and I wanted to get back in, but I was just watching, right? Because I want to get back in closer to 122 because that's where the buyer was. But when I saw that's about to break out, that's when I slapped those 100 calls. And that went on to rip to 128. Those calls went to from 140 to I don't know. I sold for 100%. I have to check how far did they go. Maybe they went 4, I guess. Because just the intrinsic value was $5 on them, right? Just 123 calls, and you can add the rest of it. So that was explosive win for the whole community, right? The multi-bagger home run win on NVIDIA. So I was long NVIDIA half size here, 122 important level to hold. Read, see sluggish, no push over 122. That's what we want to see. Then it started to push over 122. Breakout is 122.70. I explained the breakout. I explained to you the setup, right? So there was, and then when it dipped down, it reclaimed 122. So the buyer came right back. So when the buyer came right back, that was a tell that we might squeeze now. So I added back when I said buyer came back. Then I was going to coffee break, and then I added back NVIDIA. I bought a bunch of those 123 calls, and that's it. There's a breakout, and then we were just following our targets. 123 hit 100%, 125 target met, sell half, keep half, and then there was a seller at 126. We cleared that seller. Then 127 was my next target. We met 127. I told everybody roll with the profits. Next target is 128, and we met 128 target as well. We are now swinging a little bit. I told everybody to swing it, just don't do Friday options, right? Just swing it, just don't do Friday options. So you see that. So you see the complete history of this trade. Between these two trades, we had a huge day, for the whole community. Literally, like we made for the whole 1 week profits, right? We had a loser, which we'll talk about it, but this was just amazing trades today. So let's talk about a loser today. So Dell was loser. So what was happening with Dell? Let's see. Let's really see. One thing I just want to first mention is whenever we are doing a gap up, there is risk of gap fill. There is a risk of explosive loser. Explosive loss. There's a gift. What I'm sorry, sorry about that. There is a risk. So there's always this risk of a gap, right? So you have to be very careful. Look what I said on Dell, right? So okay, let's go back. Why we were bullish? We were all crazy bullish on Dell this morning. Bank of America added as a number one list. I said long bias versus 144, right? 144 was our long bias, but it never really pulled back. So it never really pulled back to that 1.4 level. So we were trying to trade it versus this 512 clouds, right? This is the level we were trying to trade it versus, and it was the amateur move. Again, I keep telling people amateur move, trend move, amateur move, trend move. This first candle is amateur move. The amateur move losers can be bad, 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 bad. You just have to be careful. Anyways, so I took a long half size, specifically mentioned half size, because it's an amateur move risk. Make sure I tell and a lot of traders were in that with me. And when we started, we were looking all right. We were moving right, out of the gate. This dip here, second candle, we were all right. But then we start to pull back, right? So this was a problem. If you go to 1 minute chart, even if you go to 3 minute chart, you can see that. So this was a problem that it's pulling back, right? So you need to watch it, that if we break, firstly, if we break the opening price, it's a problem. The opening price or the low of the first 1 minute candle, take whatever you want to when you're trading the amateur move. So you see that how it was breaking down, right? So you see what I'm doing here. I said I'm out of the starter. I was out right away because I know that loser, I can get wiped out if I stay there. So the loser, so you have to get out, right? Just like I got out right here, and then you can short it as well. It's a 512 short. We were doing Tesla trade, so I didn't focus really here, but then it filled the whole gap. It filled the whole gap. This is where we open, right? Another thing is it was already going before the open, so that is another problem. You want to see something like let's say, let's go back here to Tesla yesterday, right? It actually pulled back before the open, and it created a nice setup for us to break out over the pre-market highs. It pulled back here right before the open, but what Dell did today, and that's how we nailed Tesla, but what Dell did today was opposite. It pushed before the market open. So that's kind of, you need to remember these things when trading right at the open. So next time this doesn't happen to you, because I know there was few losers, people got losers in Dell, and some of them just loaded too much into the out of money calls and they lost it. But if you just followed me here in 5 minutes, you would have been small loss, who cares, right? But I know some people didn't respect it and they had a bigger loss. And then you see that's the complete gap fill, right? So that was the loser. So next time, remember these concepts. Either don't trade the amateur move. If you trade the amateur move, understand how to trade the gap ups. What to look for. What is the candle right before the open? Where are your support levels? Where are your risk levels? How much size you should take? Why did I say half size? And why did I say amateur move risk? Those are the reasons, and I knew it. I don't want to say yes, hold it just to be right. I know I'm wrong. It's not going to work. I'm an out. Take a loser. Move on. Make money on Tesla. Make money on NVDA. Get done with it. And a nice short as well. Make your money back. Okay. What would you have lost? You would have lost, let's say, $3, right, or $3 on the long side, unless you really hit the top. You would have made $5 on the bottom side. More than that. Look at this candle fade here. Maybe it goes on Friday, who knows. There's a nice setup now. You see this breakout. Maybe we break out on Friday. Today was not its day. Today was not Dell's day. They wanted to sell it. Somebody wanted to sell it. The fund, a big fund, whoever came with the big selling, right? It's not retail who's selling this big chunk. This big chunk is somebody big funds, they sell it, this big candle. How much was it? The first one, 2 million shares, right? And then everybody panics and runs away, and you can't save it. And when 3450 break, even the retail sells, and that's it. And every pop gets sold. And somebody who's bagged here, understand, somebody who's still holding, who's holding the bags here, it drops, they're still holding the bags, it pops, they want to get out on their break-even price. So understand the psychology though. They want to get out of the break-even price, and then it falls again. So there's no strength, no buyer strength today. Everybody's running out of there. So anyways, we'll watch it Friday. We see if we break out. We have a nice setup for Friday for a push if it's bullish for semiconductors. All right, let's go to the next one. All right. The next few ones I'm just gonna go fast. These were our main plays today's. AMD was there, so AMD was a loser. I was actually pretty careful after that because AMD, I told everybody to watch the pullbacks, but when AMD made this candle, I told everybody just leave it, right? It's just choppy. So there's no trade in AMD after that. It was not really a loser. I personally did not add it, but I did tell community to add it on the pullbacks. So it was kind of a loser idea. All right, let's go to the next one. So the AVGO was, of course, there was a Nancy Pelosi news. Sometimes I don't even need to check the news. We know it's strong, and AVGO was one of our main plays today, right? So AVGO was, let's go back and look at our levels. AVGO, our breakout level was, where's our level? AVGO right here, 1668 and 1700 psychological level. So those levels broke out, all of them, right? So this was a pre-market candle, and then we break out, and then we go all day push to 734. And of course there's Pelosi and all that, but you could trade that. So that was a nice trade for the community. A lot of traders on the floor were all over AVGO today, so you can see that since morning. Since morning there was Pajama was on it all the day. Drew was on it. A lot of traders were on it. Pajama traded really good guidance on the AVGO. All right, let's look at another winner from our game plan today. That was STZ. Let's go see what was our plan on STZ. STV's profit estimates and company backs lowers the guidance. So I said bullish bias, but it is extended from the cloud, right? 264 support and 271 resistance. When the market opened, I saw weakness. I saw the weakness. It was breaking down on the 512s. That's when I told everybody that's a short the pops, right? I told everybody it's bearish, watch the pops to short if it stays heavy. And from that 264 breakdown, broke the 3450 cloud, bounced back to 3450 cloud, and then faded all day, right? I told everybody if we break the daily clouds, goes much lower, right? So that was breaks the daily cloud, goes much lower. So watch those 50-20 clouds. So you see this is our new MTF Ripster EMA Cloud that I recently launched, the new indicator. So that lets us see the daily cloud. So you see that how the daily clouds gave up. That was a home run short. The 257 250 puts went crazy, and there's no buyer on STZ all day. Beautiful trade in the community, big winner. Next one, we're going to look at Apple. So we were watching Apple for the breakout today. So this was the Apple breakout. I posted yesterday in the chart ideas as well. So you can see on the you can see on the daily chart, this was the breakout we were trying to play. Breakout right over here, big breakout on Apple. We failed that breakout, and then initially it was trying to break out, but it failed the breakout. It was a nice trade in the morning. This is not a bad trade, right? This was the breakout that I gave. It did push like nicely, but then it failed and you have to cut break even. Then it came back to the support. You can see that we had our 219.21 support right here in the pre-market, and it bounced from there. The support that I gave, it really bounced very close to that, and then went into the chop all of the day. So nothing much. Maybe we watch it on Friday for breakout, but we were looking for explosive breakout today. All right, let's look at FSLR next. FSLR was on our game plan. What was the game plan? FSLR first solar is maintained as positive at and 218. I told everybody 1 hour bearish, but 10-minute versus 218, watch it, right? So 218 was our support to long it, and what happened? It pushed into the the daily resistance you see here. So it was a nice long in the morning versus the 218 risk that I gave everybody. So First Solar was a nice trade for everybody in the community based upon that guidance, right? So NKS was nicely green on Tesla and First Solar. So beautiful trade in the community. Slaughter did really good on First Solar. I think I gave him shout out as well. Honit was on top of it. So you see how the community traders were on top of it. Honit on the curl, Slaughter on the bullish alert, and your stops are here at 218 over the Ripster EMA Clouds. You ride it all the way to the target is the daily resistance Ripster MTF Clouds on the daily chart. That's always your target. All right, let's look at one more. Which one was that? That one was LI. So what was the plan on LI? Let's go back to a game plan. So LI plan was that it was upgrade, and I said long over 20, gap fill under it, and LI. You see where it bounced, right? You take the long right away. Just put your stops at 20, and we have that 2030 as a breakout, and you just ride the winner all day long to 21 bucks. Simple, easy trade in the community. All right, let's now go and look at SMCI. SMCI was not trading all day because it was bearish. I was not interested, but when it pushed over the clouds, I became little interested. And then when it broke my new Ripster cloud indicator, these EMA clouds 20 and 50, that's where I scalped along. This was alerted in the community by one of the traders, and I just thanks to him, we were able to make. I bought the 850 calls for 13 bucks. I sold it at like 18, 19 bucks or something like that, right? So you see that how we were able to play with those SMCI. I gave the target of 860 to everybody, so we did nice. You can see here guidance by Drog and KP. You can see how the Drog gave the. So look at this, the flag that Drog gave before the flag happened. Before it happened, he gave that idea. Beautiful call out by Drog. You can see that, right? How the Ripster clouds are turning bullish here. So very nice trade, very nice trade, very impressive. You take long here, first trade, and then this flag breakout. So understand these chart patterns, right? So you need to learn these chart patterns midday. As a 10-minute chart, 1-hour chart, like I told you, NVDA was a 1-hour chart. So learn these explosive chart patterns. All right, let's close the recap with talking about SPY and QQQ. Nothing special. I mean, it was all day bullish, right? It was, just follow the system. You see this, what we are doing. I gave everybody the breakout on SPY and QQQ was, let me show you on my feed here. So right, so SPY QQQ want to see the pre-market high breakout. QQQ was same. We want to see the pre-market high breakout. So it was a simple all-day trade. You can see this breakout. You trade, retest, hold it, breakout again, all-day trend. Just market is crazy bullish, guys. And this breakout was actually, if I show you here on SPY, or I can show you it's on QQQ, so you can see this breakout, right? So this was a breakout on Qs, and this was the breakout on SPY, right? So that's why you always look on the daily chart, and that's what I posted yesterday as well. These setups I gave in the yesterday only on the how good these setups were, the SPY QQQ, even though Apple failed, but a lot of other things worked out. So yeah, so those was SPY QQQ all day trend, guys, on the cloud ride. Beautiful day. Relax, enjoy your holiday. We'll see you guys Friday. Don't forget to, if you want to join the community, make sure you use the 4th July promo. All right, guys, take care. Bye bye.